With a violent Black Friday at one of the Northwest's busiest shopping malls. The Tacoma Mall was put on lockdown after a shooting inside the mall last night. It happened near the mall's food court. Detectives say it appears a group of people got into an argument in the moments before that shooting. Tacoma police officers already working inside the mall on a busy day were among the first to respond, and they found one person shot. Now, as you can imagine, this startled a lot of people who work and shop at the mall.
I was in the back just cooking, making people's orders, and once I heard the first two shots go off, I ran to grab everybody. I started yelling, "Get down, get down, get down," and I actually had to pull people to the ground because they were still standing up, walking around. People were definitely shocked. They were traumatized. There were people crying in the hallway.
Well, police went store to store searching for other victims or suspects. A task force took about 2 hours to do that. Right now, we don't know the victim's condition. We also don't know yet if the Tacoma Mall will reopen this morning. Over in eastern Washington, police in the Tri-Cities say a Walmart employee shot a man suspected of stealing on Black Friday. Police in Kennewick say the store's loss prevention officer followed that man into the parking lot. The suspect pulled a gun. The store employee used a concealed weapon to shoot the suspect. The wounded suspect got away, but police caught up with him about a half hour later and took him to the hospital for treatment. He's now in police custody. Well, these cases all came on the first big shopping weekend of the holiday season. This is already going to be a stressful weekend thanks to our ongoing supply chain shortage. Analysts say they've never seen anything like it in their lifetimes. In fact, the last time the U.S. saw disruptions on this scale was World War II. While the pandemic continues to be the root of the problem, experts tell us the issues impacting holiday shopping are complex.
Particularly for complex products when you only need one part missing so that you cannot assemble it. So if there's one supplier of a particular chip or a particular paint or a particular plastic that you cannot find, you cannot assemble your final product.
Big companies have been working to fix issues by ordering earlier and taking more control over logistics, getting their own ships, trucks, and drivers, essentially trying to guarantee enough product on the shelves. However, not every business can get around those problems. Now, as a rule of thumb, the earlier you shop, the better. Despite the issues, experts expect this to be a very busy holiday shopping season, record-breaking, in fact, with sales nationwide up nearly 10%. Well, turning to the pandemic now, and news no one really wants to hear. Scientists say there's a new COVID variant named Omicron. Researchers first detected the strain earlier this month in South Africa, and it's spreading rapidly. Doctors say they are in the beginning stages of studying this variant, so it's unknown if the current vaccines are effective against it.
This variant has a large number of mutations, and some of these mutations have some worrying characteristics.
That is bad news. The good news, though, several vaccine makers believe they can adjust their formulas if needed. Moderna, for its part, says it plans to advance an Omicron-specific booster candidate. So far, there have been no recorded cases of the new COVID-19 variant in the U.S. The U.S. is already implementing travel restrictions to and from South Africa. Well, a spike in overdoses and ER visits has local leaders sounding the alarm about fentanyl. Officials say they're tracking a possible cluster of overdoses in Clark County after ER visits spiked last week. Now, they didn't say how many people overdosed, but they believe this is tied to an influx of illicit drugs like heroin and meth laced with fentanyl. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that's 50 times stronger than heroin. It's often cut into other drugs without the user knowing. Earlier this month, our team on the story dug into Portland's meth crisis. We talked to 3 men in recovery from meth. They talked then about the dangers of fentanyl.
Just the other day, a friend of mine said 2 of his friends that he was in treatment with, in fact, Nick, died shooting the meth with fentanyl in it. They overdosed and died. See, you really don't, it's hard, excuse me, it's hard to overdose on meth. The fentanyl acting in the meth, it's not hard to overdose. It's just not.
Now, in Clark County, deaths tied to fentanyl overdoses spiked 200% between 2019 and 2020. Officials said anyone using powdered drugs or pills not given to them by a pharmacist should assume it contains that deadly drug. Well, some sad news this morning. Family has announced the death of Portland's first black police chief, Charles Moose. He served as Portland's police chief in the 90s before gaining national recognition during the D.C. sniper case in 2002. Our Christine Pitawanich has a look at how he's being remembered.
It is now my pleasure to introduce to the people of this great city our new chief of police, Charles Moose.
Yeah, it was hard to learn of his passing, it really was. And I look at everything that is here and I know that he had a part of it.
Former police chief Derek Foxworth remembers Charles Moose as a man who believed in making a difference, cared about his community, and changed it, too.
His leadership style, the way that he really strongly believed in it, he personified it, it did change a lot of us. He changed the culture.
Moose, Portland's first black police chief, died at the age of 68. On Thanksgiving, his wife Sandy made the announcement on social media, describing him as her best friend since 1982.
People always saw the serious side of Charles, but he had a sense of humor.
Moose rose through the Portland Police Bureau's ranks and became chief in the 90s. He went on to become police chief for the Montgomery County Police Department in Maryland, where in the early 2000s, he played a big investigative role in the D.C. sniper case.
Charles made a difference as chief.
Foxworth says Moose leaves behind a legacy in Portland, one that includes his important work around community policing. The general idea, to protect the community by creating relationships and connection with people.
I'd be very proud to have you wear a Portland police badge someday, okay?
Charles is the one that implemented community policing at the Portland Police Bureau.
His colleagues at the Bureau also took time to remember Moose. On Twitter, Sergeant Pete Simpson remembered Moose handed him his first badge. Simpson said he was tough as nails, but also kind. Police Chief Chuck Lavelle tweeted too, saying he feels connected to Moose, as he was the first African-American chief, a champion of community policing, and led the Bureau during challenging times. When in 1999 he left the Portland Police Bureau, it was obvious the impact Portland had on him.
But I just can hope that behind my name, for the rest of my life, it will say, former Portland police officer. And if it says that, then I'll know that they know who I am.
Foxworth says Moose was also known for implementing the crisis response team, a diverse group of people who would help police de-escalate situations and be a bridge to the community. Christine Pitawanich, KGW News.